Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sandy. If you've just started following me or checking out my videos, I am in the middle of doing an IVF series on my IVF journey, a successful IVF journey, and today is part 3, possibly the final part. I might add on another video, so let's get started. I think we stopped off in 2013, which is when we decided to take time off to seek God, pray that it would happen naturally, try to get our finances in order, and just kind of wait. And it's a lot to take in and process. Maybe some people can jump right into it right away. We couldn't. We needed to prayerfully understand what we were getting ready to walk through, and we wanted to activate our faith and believe that God could also do a miracle naturally. We knew God could do a miracle through IVF, but we also didn't want to spend the money. So that's really what we did for the next 4 years, was just that. We prayed, we cried, hoped, dreamed, wondered, tried to silence the what ifs. And then finally in 2015, I was showing property, because I have a real estate license. I was showing property to a couple on the beach. And we ended up looking at this condo building, and they knew that my husband and I would love to live on the beach. I mean, who doesn't? Some people may not, but we. And they're like, let's look for you guys. Let's look for you guys. And I was like, no, we are here for you. We are here for you. And it turns out they had something though that piqued my interest. And so they're like, let's go look at it. Let's go look at it. So I do not advise that if you are a realtor, but these were friends. And so we decided just to go look at it. It was way too small. It was a studio apartment on the 2nd floor. It had a sliver of an intercoastal view because it literally sat on the intercoastal. It had private beach access. You could walk right across the street with a private gate, and you had a key fob that you could go on to the beach, and it was basically your private oasis. Most of the time we would go out there, there was barely anybody out there. It was amazing. And so I was like, there's no way. We had a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse that we had been renting, and we're like, there's too much stuff. There's no way we can fit it in this studio apartment. It literally was a hotel room with a kitchen. That's exactly what it was. So if you can imagine that, like no laundry. There was laundry on like the 2nd, 4th, and 6th floor, something like that. So you had to share laundry, which wasn't horrible because it was only specifically 4 units on each floor that were designed like ours that didn't have laundry. So it wasn't a lot of people. But the views and the peace that you got just being on the water. I grew up going to the beach for vacations. So I thought, man, like this would be so amazing just to simplify like our brains and just simplify our stuff and have the beach to laugh with God, cry with God, pray, seek Him, spend time on the beach, just soaking Him in. I thought that just sounded amazing to me. And so all that started to come alive. And so I called Josh about it, not really thinking, I hadn't really put too much thought into it yet. And I called Josh and he's like, there's no way we can't, like, there's no way we can fit into that. So like we dismissed it for, I don't know, a couple of days, maybe a week. I don't remember. But I remember talking to my broker's wife about it. And she was like, oh my gosh, this is what you've been wanting to do. You should do it. It's like the only building on the island that allows pets. And we had 2 cats, okay? Studio apartment, 2 cats. And she's like, you need to do it. She's like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime and you'll never get to do this again if you have kids. Like, do it, do it, do it. And so then her husband came out, who's the broker, and was like, what are you guys talking about? Which he never does. He never like peeks out and like wants to hear conversation necessarily. And whatever we were talking about piqued his interest. And so I was telling him and he's like, yes, you should go do it. Has he seen it yet? And I said, no. And he's like, when he sees it, he'll he'll want to try it out. And so I called the condo and asked if it was available, and they said it had an offer on it, but they were going through background checks, and she wasn't sure that it was actually going to go through. So if we wanted to see it, like, come now. So I called him at work, and he was able to get off early. And so we drove over there, and as soon as he drove onto the property, he was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is what we wake up to? You literally, I mean, the building could fall off into the water. It's like right there." And he was like, "How are we going to do this?" And I said, God, like, if this is what God's calling us to do. And he felt the same thing, the simplicity, wanting to purge stuff and just get rid of junk. And so we had basically 24 hours to pray about it before we gave him an answer. And we decided, if we don't do it, we're always going to regret it. And who wants to miss an opportunity, especially if God's calling us to it? So we said yes. So for the next, I think it was 2 months that we had, we started selling stuff, getting rid of stuff. We ended up taking a portion of one of our guest bedrooms, I think it was our guest bedroom, and marked out like how much storage unit space, because we knew we probably want to save some things, but it wouldn't fit into the condo, excuse me. And so we started loading things into that marked off space, and we were like, this isn't going to work. We don't want to pay for a bigger unit. This isn't going to work. And then we started moving, and I think we had about a week or a week and a half where we were in both places trying to get out. And so we took a spot on our living room floor and marked it out and started putting the boxes of things that were going to go into the storage unit. And we were just like, this is too much. This is too much. Like, what have we done? Have we made a mistake? We had mapped out on graph paper. I had the idea of what I wanted the condo to look like and how it was going to work. And so Josh mapped it out on graph paper to make sure all the estimates and everything were going to work the way we wanted it, and like things that we were going to put on the wall, storage, that kind of thing. And it worked. We just had to figure out like the little nooks and crannies of where things were going to go. And then the storage unit, how much should we want to put in there, because we were only willing to spend a certain amount, and we had to figure that out. And so I remember once it got like down to like the last day or two, we had to go in to our townhouse and we had to start really thinking through, do we want these Christmas dishes? Like, it's a place setting for 10. We bought them when we were first married. We have yet to have family come over because we moved to Tulsa, then we moved to West Palm. It's not like we have a space big enough for 10 people to come and hang out and have nice Christmas dishes and nice Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners and all this stuff. So we were like, okay, like, it's got to go. And so we really started like Xing things off the list. And it was shocking, the stuff that we got rid of. And we just called like Goodwill, or we have a place here called Faith Farm, where they just came and picked up everything else, because we didn't have time to be selling it. I didn't want to sell it. I had done enough of that already. And so the rest of it went to a storage unit. Fast forward 6 months later, and we were happily living on the beach, and it was amazing, I tell you, it was so awesome. The storage unit wanted to raise the rent price by $10. And I immediately thought to myself, nope, we're done. We're not paying anymore. And I went over there with a pad and paper one day, and I could see, because we had a longer unit, it didn't go far back, it was like more wide. So I could see like what was in each box. And I went through like painstakingly what was in those boxes. And I realized the amount of money we had paid in 6 months. We didn't even have that much in value that was really being stored, except for a portion of our couch that didn't fit. So everything else was just like, either I needed to figure out a place to store it in the condo so it didn't look like there was a storage unit in our condo, or it needed to go. So a lot of it left, and whatever I wanted, I took with me. And it was amazing, the space I found. You would have walked in there, you can ask anybody I know, you walk in there and you wouldn't have thought it was a storage unit. We had a platform bed, and we realized the space at the headboard was big enough for boxes underneath that. So we put tons of stuff underneath our platform bed, and there was like a space in the wall. It was like that wide, like it's stuck off the wall where our couch butted up against it. So that space back in there, we could put like boxes or like things that hung on the walls that we didn't have boxes for. We could slide them under there. And then I realized I could slide things under the couch and you would never know it. So it was amazing what we got in there. When we finally moved out of there and moved into our townhouse that we have now, we were like, what happened? It was like someone popped open a vacuum seal bag and went poof, and all the stuff appeared. It was crazy. We have no idea how we did it. Actually, we do. We knew it was God. It had to have been God. But so for that first year, we were on the second floor with just a sliver. Like if you sat on Josh's side, you could see the intercoastal. Now, if you walked out into the balcony, you could totally see it. But in the second year, we had the opportunity to move up to the 5th floor, and we're like, done. We had to pay a little bit more, but we were like, this is so worth it. I mean, who doesn't want to do this? The views we had, we could see the ocean. We had a full view of the intercoastal down south, and it was amazing. I'll have to, if you look at my Instagram feed from like early 2017 back to like 2015, you will see tons of beach videos of just our condo and stuff. And then also, if you look on my channel, there's also some videos of how I think it's a, not organization, but it's a tour of our studio. I think we did the kitchen on there, and I think it was like the dining room, bathroom area. But you can check those out to get an idea of what our condo was like. And I think I did that on the 2nd floor. It wasn't on the 5th floor. But yeah, so we had a lot of moments where we would talk to God on the beach and just walk and cry and seek him. And it was very peaceful. I would drive over the bridge after work and it was just, everything would calm down. We'd drive through the mansions to get home and just dreaming and thinking. It was awesome. It was awesome. In April of 2017, my sisters came to visit at the condo, and they said, you know, why won't you like get a second opinion? I mean, you're 30, I think I was 37, just turned 38. And I don't know how come we hadn't thought of it at that point, but it did get me thinking, and I started just looking for our doctor's office, like on Facebook and things. I don't even remember what I was searching. I think I was just on Facebook because I followed them, and they had this webinar that they were talking about male factor infertility, which is what we dealt with. And it was a female doctor at a different location, and she seemed life-giving and just completely opposite of our first doctor. And I thought, okay, I'd be willing to give her a try. Like I like the way she's speaking and just her demeanor. I thought was great. And so when Josh got home, I had asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, let's go check her out. So that was in April. Our first consultation was in June of 2017. And that's where she told us, we can do this. I looked at everything. I've seen your past records from the other office, which they're the same practice, just different locations. And she was like, and you know what? You don't have to lose as much weight. And I sat there and cried. I really did. It actually makes me want to cry now. Whew, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. I wasn't expecting this. I felt the bondage break in that moment. It's indescribable how I felt. Just years of emotion, wondering if we could do this, wondering if I could lose the weight I needed to do elective surgery so I could go under. Which is so minor. It's so minor, not even in the hospital. It's so ridiculous. And I just felt the chains break. I just felt it. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It was completely God. And she's like, I remember she put her hand on my leg. And she's like, we can do this. She's like, you are beautiful. She's like, you are curvy and beautiful. And it's just, you know, this minor detail that you can like kick butt and do. And she's like, but we got this. We got this. And I thought, you know what? I do. I got this. I totally got this. And so from there, we started some of the tests and exams that I mentioned in the other videos. Like I had to do an SIS again. They want to check, I mean, it had been several years, so anything can happen to you. They need to check to make sure there's no endometriosis, no fibroids, that you don't have any blockages. And so I went through the testing for that. And because we already knew it was male factor infertility and everything was okay with me, we needed to make sure that I was okay now before we proceed. And so when we did the exams and the SIS, she discovered that I did have a small, I think it was 2 centimeters, 2 millimeters, 2 centimeters. Is this, I don't know if they do it by centimeters, but it was like 2 by 2. Apparently it was very small, but it was dead center of my uterus. And she was concerned because the embryo could not attach to the wall. If it was right there in the dead center of my uterus, it would fall away and miscarry. So she's like, we've got to take care of the fibroid. So when you do that, you have to wait for your body to cycle through. There's lots of things that happen in IVF where you have to wait for your body to cycle for them to do other things. So it took a few months for all of these things to happen. So our initial consultation, like I said, was in June. And then early June, I think, because the first surgery was the week of 4th of July.